Alright fellas, what is up? Welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. It is always greatly appreciated. Hope it's going well. Hope you guys are staying safe and keeping it gaming, of course. And I want to talk to you guys about what do you prefer and what do I prefer, the old school horror survival aspect of Resident Evil that they did bring back with 7, or the more over the top action, more like a Michael Bay film type Resident Evils like 4, 5 and 6. So let's get straight into it fellas. Now I kind of want to discuss what I prefer personally, and then I'll kind of go into a few more points a bit more in detail. But I honestly don't mind over the top action in the Resident Evil games. Like, I know that's kind of blasphemy talking about that, but I do prefer, also not prefer, but I do enjoy the over the top action and the big shootouts and all that, because I feel that, like, it's the way that I look at it. The zombie virus in the first Resident Evil, right? Like, it was pretty much the first outbreak, if you get what I mean. So they were the first type of zombies, but then as the virus progresses and as like other viruses get made that improve on the infection, they add stuff to the infected, like they get more intelligent. For example, in Resident Evil 4 they can use weapons, they can talk. So I kind of saw it as time went on in the Resident Evil universe, the viruses got more and more complex. So the infected were obviously a bit more intelligent than they were when the virus was first created, like in Resident Evil 1, how the zombies are really slow and dumb. But obviously as the story progresses and the viruses get made more, I guess, better, if you want to call it better, like the zombies can get more intelligent, they can use weapons, they can sprint, all that sort of stuff. So I didn't really mind the whole over the top action aspect, but I do appreciate what they are doing with the Resident Evil 7. Now I kind of hope that the rest of the Resident Evils that come out after 7 aren't all first person, kind of how Resident Evil 7 was. I do like the third person aspect of Resident Evil 6 and obviously all the other Resident Evils, but I don't think they should just do first person for the rest of Resident Evils. I think it was good for 7 because you play as, like, you don't play as a soldier, right? You just play as a normal person, Ethan, who's just trying to find his girlfriend, and he ends up in this crazy situation. So I kind of get why they changed up the game for that. Like, you aren't like a master at combat, like you aren't like some special soldier like Chris or Leon. You're just an average, everyday guy pretty much. So I would like to see them go back in future Resident Evils, whether they call it Resident Evil 8 or who knows what they're going to call the next one. I would like them to go back to third person and more like, I would like to see a Resident Evil 4 type edition again, like how it was still scary. Like Resident Evil 4 was more action than the others, but it was still kind of creepy. Like you're in this like old-fashioned town with all these crazy villages. Like it was really creepy. In Resident Evil 5 it did go a wee bit overboard kind of with the situations, but I still thought that it was fun, and especially in co-op, and the story was cool with Wesker and all that. And Resident Evil 6, a lot of people give it shit because of how crazy it was. Like you're pretty much fighting a gigantic mutant dinosaur in one of these campaigns, but I still found it fun, and I still found the stories fun, and there were zombies in it, there were zombies in Leon's campaign. So now that I've kind of discussed all these points about the previous Resident Evils, including 7, I kind of want to discuss my ideal Resident Evil and how I think that they should continue the series. I think that they should stay with the horror of 7, like the scariness, the creepiness, the vibes of 7, but make it third person, and the movement system kind of similar to 4, but you can obviously move around if you're aiming down, so you're not just standing still in one spot. So make the movement a bit more fluid, and take something from Resident Evil 6. The one thing that I think they should take from 6 is the melee system, but I'm not talking about all the kicking and the flips and stuff like that. I'm talking about more the ability to counter attacks. Like if an enemy's coming at you like a crazy mutant zombie Magini with a knife, and he's swinging at you, instead of just standing there and taking the hit if you don't move, having the ability to actually counter his attack, especially if you're playing as some soldier like Chris or Leon, the ability to actually counter his attack is something that they should have in the game. I don't see why you should just have to stand there and take the hit if you have the timing to actually counter the attack. I think they should take the melee system, the countering from 6, the third person aspect from 4, and the movement from 6, like when you aim down and you can actually move around, but the horror of 7. I think that would be the perfect Resident Evil. And obviously have ammo scarce and all that sort of good stuff, heaps of cool puzzles, cool story, cool characters, all that sort of good stuff that we expect from a Resident Evil game, and I think they will nail it. But be sure to comment down below on if you guys agree, if you don't, if you prefer the action aspect of the Resident Evil games, or you prefer the horror, or if you prefer kind of like a mix of both, kind of like me. Like, that's the Resident Evil that I like, is the mix of both. Good action, good horror, good story, good characters, and of course great gameplay. But be sure to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. Stay safe, stay tuned, and I will see you fellas on the next one. Yeah. Woo! Yeah.